Live from the BMW of Atlantic City studios, this is Fantasy Dominance Now. Come dominate fantasy sports with us. And bringing you all the tools to dominate is Gibson Mayer, LLC, your certified public accountant. To schedule an appointment, give them a call, 215-369-3300, or go visit them for all your tax needs at 301 Oxford Valley Road, Yardley, PA. Happy Ichiro 3000, everybody. Thank you ever so much for joining us. I'm Rob Povia. Sitting to my left is my main man and A2D Radio's resident Pittsburgh fan, Mike Kleinkoff. And Matt Sanzuti is bringing you all the fantasy dominance from the producer's chair. Brian Daly has this week off, sunning it up down in Sea Isle, New Jersey. What's up, gentlemen?
Hey, man, just another beautiful day out here.
Not as beautiful where Brian is, though, down at Sea Isle, lucky bastard.
That's very true. That's very true.
If you're listening, Brian, yeah, I called you a bastard. You can get back at me next week.
Scumbag.
Hey, if you want in on all the dominance, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You search a2dradio.com. You got fantasy questions, tweet at us with the hashtag AskFDN. I'm at RobbieBLTZ. Mike is at Mike_Kleinkoff. Brian is at Brian_A2D Radio. Be sure to tweet at him while he's on vacation. Hey, we got a great show in store for you all. We're capping off our overall breakdown of the top 30 for your fantasy football drafts with our top 10 list, man. It got down to the top 10 already, Mikey.
It's going too fast, man. Going way too fast, but I'm ready for it.
Hell yeah, I know I'm ready for it. I can't wait for my fantasy football drafts.
I can't either. I got one coming up, early September, I think. I think it's a week before week one, so I'm ready for it. I might just join a random one, do a little ESPN league, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Brian Daly is chiming in already. Rock out a great show, fellas. I'll be tuning in later to listen, so he'll get all these jabs later on.
Sweet.
But yeah, no, absolutely, man. I'm definitely looking. It's a great time, late August. We wanted to get out the information ahead of time. If we have more time before draft start, we can maybe do some top 10s for quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I know you had suggested that since we so far only have two in our top 30 respectively. So yeah, that would be a good idea. You have to stay tuned for that. But yeah, I love fantasy football drafts. They're so much fun. I actually have one where it's live in person.
I don't like that, man. It's too much pressure.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
Too much pressure. Everybody's just looking at you, and you're like, all right. You're looking, like going through a stat book. You're like, all right, man. Chris Johnson. No, he's hurt. No.
Yeah. It's a lot. You got to have your cheat sheets. Got to have the highlighters out, man, marking off who's off. But, yeah, we should have one of the league commissioners for that league, Brian, chiming in later on in the show. He's going to be calling in. Just a fantasy guru. He won over $13K in FanDuel last year in fantasy football, so we'll get his stylings later on in the show. We'll also give praise to the latest Mr. 3000, Ichiro Suzuki. Certainly a good accomplishment, a lot of hype around when he surpassed Pete Rose's all-time mark when you combined his Japan hits to MLB hits, which is pure garbage, but now he's officially hit 3,000 in Major League Baseball, and at his age, coming into the league, such an accomplishment. So we'll pay homage to that man. And, if we have time, we'll talk a little Rio Olympics, man. We got a couple Olympics aficionados in the house. So we'll go over what's going on down in Rio de Janeiro. But leading off, though, as you see in the thumbnail where we have ARod's presser announcing his retirement, this is the big story of the week, so we need to get to that right away. We asked you on Twitter at A2DRadio_com, what will be Alex Rodriguez's legacy? Will it be the 696 home runs? Will it be the 3 MVP awards? Steroid use that's really followed him from his year suspension? Or another option, you could vote on Twitter. We'll get to the poll results later on in the show. And bringing you our main topic of the day is the BMW of Atlantic City dealership. And you can... Maddie, can I get that read over there real quick? Sure. Thank you very much. That was my lack of preparation. BMW Atlantic City challenged its sales team. They must sell 100 vehicles, which means you save. Right now, lease a certified pre-owned elite 2016 BMW 320i with xDrive, just $299 a month. For 36 months. The ultimate driving experience is closer than you think. BMW Atlantic City, easy to get to. Minutes off of exit 37 on the Garden State Parkway or online, bmwatlanticcity.com. So, Mikey, Alex Rodriguez announced his retirement. What's your take on it? What was your take on the announcement?
I mean, I wasn't surprised. I mean, recently the Yankees have been forcing players into retirement, it seems like. So, I mean, to me, ARod, he's still got another year on a contract. Granted, I mean, obviously he's not producing the numbers that they want him to produce. I think he's batting like 204 this season, 9 home runs,
Oh, yeah.
something ridiculous, like 21 RBIs. You know, very bad stat-wise, but this is what you get for giving a 32-year-old man a 10-year contract.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And this is what it mind boggles me when I hear this stuff, because this is why MLB contracts and GMs are, I don't want to say the dumbest, but when it comes to contracts, they're ridiculous. I mean, they signed Miggy to 10 years at 30 years old. You know, many guys don't produce. They're not going to produce the same exact way that they are at 30, when most of their guys are in their prime. And, there's really only one guy that's up by the 40-year-old mark, and that's Albert Pujols that I've seen that's actually, been pretty consistent, but that's one of how many?
Right.
Doing
it all natural, too.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing. I mean, you're paying ARod off of steroid money. So
yeah, right.
But it's just we were talking about this before, and it's like I just don't like when GMs give these guys these long-term contracts, and and you can't be mad at the player when they're not producing.
Right.
Right.
It's purely to get them there now, or keep them there now, so you appease them with the 10 years and the all the millions of dollars.
The $300 million,
right. Acknowledging that you're probably gonna buy them out or maybe even release them as they're doing now. And in case you're not in the know, on August the 7th, there was a press conference announcement to schedule at 11 a.m. and it was running all through Major League Baseball. Shocking. What is he going to say? Are the Yankees announcing he's releasing him? Is he retiring? Are they not releasing him? Well, Alex Rodriguez's turbulent career as one of baseball's most talented and polarizing sluggers is over. He's going to play his final Major League Baseball game on August the 12th versus the Rays. Following the game, he'll be released and become a special advisor instructor with the Yankees, whatever that means, and we'll get into that in a minute. But he was quoted as saying during the press conference, Mike, we all want to keep playing forever, but it doesn't work that way. Saying goodbye may be the hardest part of the job, and that's what I'm doing today. Do you believe any of this sincerity, or is this scripted like a Barack Obama speech?
It's probably more scripted. I mean, he can't be too mad. I mean, he's getting $28 million to, pat some guys on the back. So.
Right.
But, I mean, obviously, he still wants to play. I mean, why wouldn't you? It's a game he's played since when he came into the league at, 18, 19 years old?
Right.
So, I mean, he's been an absolute stud his whole career. I mean, obviously, he did take roids, and he's admitted to it. Okay. But
18 years old, into the league.
He's still, overall, minus steroids and all that, he's still a phenomenal player.
Right.
You can't take the defense away from him. His batting, you still got to make contact,
right,
to hit the home runs, even if there's a little juice in you. But, I don't know. I mean, to me, it's definitely, I mean, what can you say? Like I said before, they pretty much made him retire. Just like they made Teixeira retire as well.
Right.
Which is, I believe, is wrong.
Right. And I'll definitely, I want to go into that further with you in a little bit, but covering, some of his accomplishments, and it ties right into this conversation. I know what ARod's main motivation was to keep on playing. He sits at 696 homers. He wants to hit that 700 mark.
Let him do it.
Right. Well. Yeah, no, though. I mean, yes, I hear you.
They suck this year anyway.
Right. So what is it really stopping? But in the end, it really is a small microcosm of what this man is. He's all about ARod and not about his team. So is this announcement to show that okay, the Yankees want to release me. I know I have particular goals, but I'm going to do the honorable thing by allowing them to release me.
Yeah.
Which sounds a little egotistical there.
Yeah.
Because with the stipulation that they're going to keep me on as an advisor, trainer, whatever that looks like, that gets some value out of the money they're paying for him and to keep him in the Yankee family. At first, I thought, wow, that's a really honorable thing to really not, damage a relationship. But in the end, it's selfish. It's selfish based. Yeah. It's selfish based on ARod, and it's selfish based on the organization of the New York Yankees.
Yeah, but be in his shoes, and you're that close to 700. Don't you just want to finish out the season and not retire a month early?
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, I get it. It's
you're I mean, like I said, I mean, I keep bringing up roids, but I mean, he didn't.
So are the people on the
where
Twitter
do you think
poll.
He got 5,700 or 57 home runs from?
Right.
You know, I mean, come on. But still, I mean, the fact that he's that close to 700, and if I were in his shoes, I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
I'd be absolutely pissed. I don't care. You could ask any other player in the MLB, and I bet you they would say they would be pissed as well. So it's not so much of ARod's ego, but if you're that close to being like, that close to 700 home runs, which very few people have ever hit, I would want to be in that record book too. So.
Well, I call it selfish, but there's a time to be selfish.
Yeah.
And this is that time.
Yeah.
Because if ARod has any fading hopes of making the Hall of Fame amidst the steroid use, which just like Bonds and Clemens, I don't think it's going to happen despite the 696 homers. Achieving that number of 700, it's only a difference of 4, but it's a big difference. Mm-hmm. Could be a little bit in his favor of maybe ultimately one day making the Hall of Fame, because let's face facts, this man has a complicated legacy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's definitely true. And I'm going to say it again. Roids. I mean, we gave him the name ARod. I mean, it's a shame that, a lot of these guys back then used it. I mean, his rookie year, he went from hitting 0 home runs to hitting 5, then to hitting, I got his stats here. Give me 1 second.
Oh, no problem. Bring it up. What I will say real quick is, speaking of this complicated legacy, and that's what we asked you on Twitter, what his legacy will be. Will it be the 696 homers, the 3 MVP awards, the steroid use, or other? Certainly, one is really leading, and we'll get into the results later on in the show. But this man has a very, like I wrote in the description, one of the most notorious MLB superstars of all time. Mm-hmm. And really right now it's all about the fans grappling with a very complicated legacy.
Yeah. I mean, all right, here's those stats. I mean, granted, 94 he played 17 games, he had no home runs. 95 he played 48, he had 5. But then he jumps to 96 where he plays a full season with 146 games, he hits 36 home runs. So I mean, it just, I don't know if he was juicing then, but if he wasn't,
he was cycling.
That's
what he was. Yeah. He was cycling.
But it's just that huge jump in numbers. I understand he played 100 more games that season, but that's a huge jump in numbers between, only hitting 5 in 48 games and then hitting 36 in 148. So I don't. It's so hard to say, like, how much can we really believe ARod, considering he's had all these troubles with the steroids and everything. So it's really hard, especially since he's admitted it.
Right. Right.
Like a guy like Bonds, where he's like, oh no, he keeps pushing it off, kind of thing. He gets the record and then some. But it's just like, he's another guy that, like, people kept around just so he could kind of beat the record.
Right, and the Yankees are going to keep him around through December 31st, 2017, in that role of special advisor and instructor with the Yankees. So when this announcement was made, Mike, there was definitely a mixed reaction, and that's saying it lightly. You could see a group of fans outside Yankee Stadium chanting, ARod, ARod, and holding up a sign for a website they created called the Yankee Bombers site. Reading this one article from, where is this from? This is from the New York Times, according to one Yankee fan, Ricardo Panagero, I never gave up on ARod. I'm here for him. We all are here for him. He did what he was supposed to do when it was his time, no matter what. For me, he's a legend. There's a lot of people that are out there and really look at the highlights of the positives that don't get swayed away from the steroid use. But then, there's the other side. You have a contract. Finish it off. Law enforcement officer Greg Santos says from Long Island. The Yankees announced that he would be paid the rest of the $27 million he was owed and would remain with the team, as we said before. But in the end, some people have beef against him, as we highlighted. Some people are in favor of him. Others have beef against the Yankee organization. It sounds like that's where you lie.
Well, yeah, like I said, because a guy these are all guys out of their prime, but I felt like, Teixeira, who's only 36, granted, he's, injury bound every season, but he's a good veteran to have on your staff, and I felt like that was another guy that they forced to retire.
Right.
And the same thing in ARod's shoes. They're forcing him to retire. And that's where I go in again with these long baseball contracts. Don't give these guys 10-year contracts, and if they don't produce, you can't be mad at them.
Right.
When I'm 41 years old, I'm not going to be batting .350. I could tell you that,
Well, it doesn't sound like they're very mad at him because, they certainly could have renegotiated how much money they owed him. They're keeping him on.
They won a World Series with him.
Yeah.
So.
And that's a big thing. 2009, right?
Yeah.
So, it gets down to this. It's that, are you going to reward the man for what he's done?
Yeah.
Or what you feel you are contractually obligated to him?
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's really hard for me to say, but it kind of makes me mad that an organization kind of forces a guy to retire. And I kind of felt that way when it came to Hines Ward too with the Steelers, and I felt so bad for him because they didn't want to give him that extra year because he was battling with the injuries, and he was almost a 40-year-old wide receiver in the league.
Right.
And they weren't giving him a contract, and he said, "I'm not playing anywhere else."
Right.
So I almost felt like that way the Steelers almost made him retire as well when he still had probably a couple more good years with him. So.
Yeah, this is truth, man. This is truth. So kind of piggybacking on that point, Mike, before we hit the break, with Teixeira announcing his retirement, age 36, being gone after this season too, where do the Yankees go from here, losing two of their big boppers?
Well, they go to their farm system. And a lot of these trades that they did this, right before the trade deadline brought in a lot of young prospects. And I know Frazier being one of them. That kid's an absolute stud. And, they're going to look good next year. I really do believe that. I think, the Yankees need to go. If they're going to buy people, they need to go buy younger and not buy all these old, washed-up players like McCann. I mean, he's garbage, But I don't know, man. It's just I think the Yankees did a very good thing getting younger, which, a lot of teams like, another team like the Phillies have done this year too, and they've kept the young squad. Obviously they're not doing that great, but they're going to get that experience. They're going to learn from that experience, and they're only going to get better.
Oh, yeah. No, there's no doubt about it. And I definitely absolutely agree with you. I think that, in true Yankee fashion, though, they'll pick up an aging veteran.
Yeah, like a 38-year-old,
right, to bridge the
10-year contract.
Yeah, because that's what they do. That's absolutely what they do. But in the end, yeah, with all those trades during the trade deadline, their farm system went from worst to easily first. Your point about Clint Frazier, he's a stud, absolute stud. They got a lot of pitching depth too to rebuild that rotation. So, the Yankees they'll rebound, not as quite as quickly as I see the Philadelphia Phillies rebounding with their, because they did the same thing. They went from bottom of the barrel to like easily 7th in their farm system. So certainly that's where the Yankees will go. Well, we'll readdress this issue later on the show when we get to the poll results. What will be Alex Rodriguez's legacy? You can vote right now on our Twitter at A2DRadio_com. But before we get into that, after the break, we're going to get into our top 10 fantasy football overall rankings leading up to your draft. We're going to give you fantasy baseball ad recommendations. We're going to talk a little Ichiro 3000, little Olympics, little Kings, Jacks, and Jokers. We just began the party that is Fantasy Dominance now, and it's being brought to you by Liberty Event Rentals. For all your rental needs, you can go visit them at 2154 East Cambria Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Give them a call, 267-314-7368, or look them up online, libertyeventrentals.com. You're listening to Fantasy Dominance now here on A2DRadio.com.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by The Sports Outlet, located at 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. With over 40 years of customer experience giving the latest in uniforms and equipment to sports enthusiasts of baseball, softball, football, basketball, hockey, soccer, and much more. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or send them an email at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit their website at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all of your sporting needs.
Hey, do you need to get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com. Hey, do you consider yourself the next Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, or Jordan Spieth? Well, head on out on November 5th at Valley Brook Country Club in Blackwood, New Jersey for A2DRadio.com's first ever Real Talk Invitational. 125 per person to enter, teams up to 4 members, and it includes all you can eat and drink, and contests including longest drive, putting competition, closest to the pin, and the hole-in-one contest. Once again, it's November 5th at Valley Brook Country Club in Blackwood, New Jersey. The guys here at A2DRadio.com hope to see you there.
welcome back to today's Fantasy Dominance Now here on A2DRadio.com. Mike Kleinkoff, Rob Povey in the house, Matt Sudi, making sure you all hear us well on the ones and twos. You want in on the dominance, you like us on Facebook, you follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and you subscribe to our YouTube channel. You search A2DRadio.com. If you got specific fantasy questions, we're here for you. We're at your disposal. Tweet at us with the hashtag AskFDN. If you're just joining us, you missed a great conversation about the retirement of Alex Rodriguez. We still got a lot more to go. We're going to dive into fantasy football. I believe we're going to be having an expert in the industry, Brian, calling in on the FDN hotline in just a matter of moments. But while we're waiting, go to our Twitter page at A2DRadio_com and vote. What will be Alex Rodriguez's legacy? The 696 home runs, the 3 MVP awards, the steroid use, or other? You can feel free to comment on Facebook and on Twitter. We'll get right to your comments live on the show. But we're going to put that aside. Like I said, it's time to move on to some fantasy football. I'm bringing you this talk is Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can look them up online, scanzanosports.com, or give them a call, 856-889-3434. Come get your game in shape. So, Mikey, did you just do your top 10, or did you give a full 30?
Well, I didn't do the 30 through 21, but I did the rest. I did 20 to 1. So yeah, we'll definitely talk about our top 10, and I can't wait for that top 10 because my top 10 is going to be better than your top 10. So I mean, there's other guys that you could probably argue that I have in my top 10. We're going to get there one day. But I'll start with my number 10 guy, and I'm going to go with one of his guys, and that's going to be Des Bryant as my number 10. So, yeah, Des Bryant last year, I mean.
The Big X, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been dropping a lot of passes in practice, you know.
F Des Bryant. But ironically, that's my number 10 as well.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, we got him right in the same place there.
I mean, last year, 31 receptions, 401 yards, 3 touchdowns. Definitely, hurt him not having Romo there when he came back from his injury. But, Des Bryant's one of those guys. He could put up 10 to 12 touchdowns, but it's all going to rely on Tony Romo's shoulder. If he's fine, then Des will be fine too, and he's going to be a fantasy stud for you. But it's all on Tony Romo, and if you want to go high on Tony Romo, then I would go high on Des Bryant.
Well, he's going to come down with a lot of targets.
Yeah.
It's his guy. He's the big playmaker on that team. So you're going to get lots of yardage. He's a good red zone target too. So he's multifaceted.
Yeah.
And I think number 10 is really a good spot to put him. Now we have Brian on the FDN hotline. Let's ask you, Brian. Do you think Des Bryant deserves a number 10 overall in ranking fantasy football players?
Well, thanks for having me on, Rob. Des Bryant, number 10 ranking, it sounds like the right spot for him. I mean, I'm obviously biased, a Giants fan. I could never draft Des Bryant because I couldn't see myself rooting for him to do well on a weekly basis. But to say, is he the 10th ranked player in the league? That sounds about right. Perhaps even a little bit higher than that, maybe about 8 or 9.
Yeah. I mean, you could definitely argue it. It's just how much can you really, like I said before, how much can you really rely on Tony Romo? Because, having any other quarterback back there, I think, is going to affect his stats dramatically.
Nah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. So, Brian, why don't you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, your background, especially your fantasy football stylings, which are legendary?
Well, as you know, Rob, last year I was able to crack the bank open on FanDuel for a couple of bucks.
Yeah.
I came in second out of 260,000 entries, and that netted me a $12,500 purse. So
wow.
That was a nice little come up for 1 week.
I gave you a little more credit there. I rounded up to $13K earlier in the show when I was billing you.
Well, when you package in the money that I won in our league, which I'm the co-commissioner of,
I knew you were going to bring that up, you bastard. I knew you were going to bring that up.
Listen, I mean, I'm surprised you don't have the graphic of me holding the trophy up while we're talking. That would probably be fitting. But
I just baby bird in my mouth a little bit.
But put together, I was $13,000 winning last year alone. So yeah, I have a little bit of chops when it comes to golf.
Right on, brother. Yeah, I know you're honestly, man. We've had so many great talks for fantasy. One expert to another. Really, no matter how smart a man is when it comes to fantasy sports, you always double check with another man that's just as smart. Be like, hey, would you make this trade? Would you pick up that? Who would you drop there? And I guess it's just to get validation, really, that you're making the right move.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. You always want to fact check yourself or make sure that you're not operating off of impulse or anything like that. That's always the smartest thing to do, because it's very easy as an owner to get kind of caught up in the moment, or I want to make this trade just because I was thirsty for a little bit of action or something to that effect. You want to make certain that you're not selling yourself down the river by kind of bouncing an idea off somebody else. I have to guard myself here when I talk fantasy with you, as you're drafting right behind me in our league this year. So I know I have to make certain that I don't divulge too much information, but I'm definitely glad that I can kind of pitch in a little info this week. So.
Now you feel our pain on this show, because we're all in several leagues together, and it's like, I want to give a great information to the viewers.
But Mike's sitting next to me, and he's going to go pick him up while we're talking.
So I always make sure if I'm giving a hot ad recommendation, I add him first, and then I give the recommendation.
And that's what I did today. So.
All right, fellas, let's quickly pause 10 seconds, take a breath. We're going to do a quick station identification. You're listening to Fantasy Dominance Now.
You're listening to A2D Radio. A2D Radio. A2D Radio. At A2DRadio.com.
We're back with Fantasy Dominance Now. Rob Povia, Mike Kleinkoff, Matt Sudi producing on the ones and twos, and we got Brian on the line on the FDN hotline. Brian, are you a Yankee fan?
I'm sorry?
Are you a Yankees fan?
I'm actually a Mets fan, but if you wanted some take on the ARod situation, I feel like
that's where I was going with that.
Yankees,
and kudos to you for being a Mets fan.
Right.
Say again?
I think the Yankees did the right thing, to be honest with you. I mean, they could have easily said, hey, ARod, we're going to keep you on the bench, and you're going to deteriorate and wither away here on the bench for the next year plus. And then the narrative turns into ARod was washed up at the end of his career and couldn't even make his way on to a DH spot. So instead of that becoming the narrative, he gets to walk away with a little bit of dignity. The Yanks get that extra roster spot that they're looking for to put up one of the young guys. And at the end of the day, A-Rod still gets his money. 700 is almost a meaningless number. I mean, sure, it sounds cool, but he's still fourth. And at 700, he would still be fourth. So, I mean, unless he's going to magically pop up to 715, I don't really see the significance of 700.
Yeah, I get your point on that, and I did highlight that before on the show, but I think this man's got to grasp at straws for any chance of being elected into the Hall of Fame with all the steroid use convictions and swirling around him. I just figured maybe it would look better hitting that 700 mark in terms of the writer's eyes, but certainly you make a great point. 19 more would be the ideal goal, and at the rate that he's hitting,
it's not happening.
Yeah, it's not happening. Absolutely. Now, going to another or former Yankee, because there'll be a former Yankee as of August 12th. Ichiro Suzuki hits number 3,000 at his age, man. What an accomplishment. What's your take on that, Brian?
Well, I mean, did you see him leg out a triple there on his 3,000th hit? I mean, this guy's 42, but he's running like he's 35. I mean, he says he wants to play till he's 50. It might sound like comical, but when you look at Ichiro's physique, I mean, I'm sure he's probably eating sushi or, something healthy.
Fish and rice, baby.
I mean, he does not look like he's out of shape in any way, shape, or form. To say that he could, play a little left field, little right field, little DH, and maybe play until his upper 40s and challenge Pete Rose's record, it's a possibility. I mean, if he would have came over to if he would have came to the States when he was 21, he'd already have the record.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I don't know. Pete Rose's record is awful lofty, but at the same time, a guy like Ichiro knows how to hit, and he's not going to forget overnight. So, we'll have to see what the cards hold for him in the future. But I'm happy that he got the 3,000. It's good to see him, reach that milestone, and I'm happy.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Last question for me, Brian. We are talking our top 10 in, fantasy projections, fantasy rankings going into draft season. Now, I think you could safely give maybe who your number 1 or number 2 is, however deep you want to go, because we're both drafting a little later on in the first round. So start with your number 1 and go as far as you'd like.
Number 1, I'm going Odell. I mean, obviously, I have the luxury of keeping him in our league, but if I get the opportunity, I'm going Odell number 1 over Antonio Brown and over anybody else. Odell is a target machine, and he's now getting back Victor Cruz, who's allegedly healthy. I keep on saying that as long as Victor Cruz outperforms what Ruben Randall did last year, which isn't exactly setting the bar all that high, I think that he's going to provide a significant threat on the opposite side of the field. And this Sterling Shepard kid, all the reports are coming out that he's looking like a young Victor Cruz. So I feel like with more offensive weapons to help mitigate the amount of attention that defenses can spend on Odell, coupled with the fact that Odell and Eli are just reaching new levels of comfortability together, I expect an enormous year out of Odell. He would be my number 1 pick, zero hesitation.
That's very. Let me just interrupt you really quickly, because that's an interesting take. A wide receiver at number 1. We haven't seen that in a few years, and you are uncovering what could be a big trend. And even in standard leagues, we're not even talking PPR leagues, where wide receivers can be very much more abundant in the top 10, with really maybe 4 or 5 really notable running backs. Mike, what's your take on Brian putting Odell Beckham number 1?
Yeah, I don't have him number 1. I got to go with my hometown boy with, Antonio Brown, because, I mean.
Another wide receiver. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think the top 3 to top 4 could be all wide receivers, especially PPR leagues this year. But Antonio Brown's going to see majority of, the passes with the Steelers. So, I mean, last year, let me see here. He had 136 receptions, 1,800 yards, and 10 touchdowns last year.
Phenomenal numbers.
So, I mean, compared to Odell Beckham's 96 receptions and 1,400 yards. So, I mean, there's not a lot of difference between the two guys, but right there, that's 40 more receptions and almost 400 yards of a difference between the two. So
right. See, I can't get over the issue that there's a lot more wide receivers that are available in pools than there are running backs. So since there's a more of an abundancy in wide receivers, now they may not put up Antonio Brown numbers or Odell Beckham numbers. So I'm not saying I disagree with you, gentlemen, but I mean, even like an Allen Robinson can come close.
Yeah.
Can definitely come close. So I believe I interrupted Brian. You were going to give maybe your top 3. Let me give you that opportunity before we say adieu.
Yeah, I mean, I can go as far as you want, to be honest. I mean, I've done a number of mock drafts already.
Give us your top 3. Give us your top 3.
Well, sticking with the wide receiver trend, like you were saying, how you see it starting to kind of move towards wide receivers being valued more than running backs, that's because the league is trending more towards running backs by committee. There's only so many workhorse backs left there that are going to get your 30 touches a game.
Great point.
That being said, if I'm going to get 13 targets a game out of a guy like Odell, each one of those targets could go for 20 yards or potentially 80 yards.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take my bet going with a wide receiver higher in the draft, which leads me right into number 1, Odell. Number 2, I really have to pick them between Julio Jones and Antonio Brown. I think Julio Jones is going to thrive with Mohamed Sanu on the other side of the field rather than an old version of Roddy White.
Oh.
And I also feel like Antonio Brown, despite missing Martavius Bryant, he's going to have your guy, Darius Green, in there. He's going to have Marcus Wheaton, who they seem to be very high on, and also Sandy Coach. So there's a number of targets that are going to be out there to be acquired with Martavius Bryant being absent, but they're still going to be looking at Antonio Brown an awful lot. We all know that. So I would put a pick 'em really at number 2, Julio Jones, number 3, Antonio Brown. You could reverse those. And my first running back wouldn't come until after that at number 4, where I would go with Todd Gurley at number 4, because they're really just going to feed him the ball. With a rookie quarterback under center,
that's all they have in St. Louis.
Gurley the ball.
Absolutely, man. Well done, sir. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more with having him as your number one running back on the board. And we'll get to my outlandish rankings in just a little bit. But first, Brian, wanted to thank you for being a part of the party that's Fantasy Dominance now. Anything you want to plug before you head out?
Well, I'd first like to thank Coca-Cola for making this all possible, because if I didn't have the opportunity to take a little hiatus from my Coca-Cola route, I wouldn't be able to make this call. Speaking of which, if I have a little bit of vacation time coming up in, I believe, November, maybe I can make a trip down there to the studio and see you guys.
Love
that
it.
would be great. It would be a lot of fun.
It'd be tons of fun, man. We'll have you anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me today, Rob. I'll see you at the draft.
No problem, brother. See you at the draft. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, man. Take care.
Cool. We love the interaction. Bring your calls. Bring your questions. You tweet us with the hashtag AskFDN. You can hit us up on Instagram. Hit us up on Facebook. You know, we have any means that you use. We're available to talk fantasy, because that's what we do. That's what I do. I eat, sleep, and shit fantasy sports. Getting back to Mikey's list, my list. We both had Des Bryant at number 10. Who do you got at number 9?
Number 9, A.J. Green. You know, Andy Dalton's favorite target. He's going to have to be his favorite target. He really doesn't have anybody else now. Last season, 86 receptions, almost 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns. So, A.J. Green, we know what he's capable of. You know, if he's not going to be injured, then everything's going to be fine. So, you know, he's just going to get the rock all day.
Oh, I agree with you. I mean, I had him ranked a little lower. I had him at 15. But, you know, that's just because that's not so much my lack of faith in A.J. Green.
Yeah.
That's my lack of faith in Andy Dalton playing consistent football.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I had him there. So I'm not hating on you. At number 9 is my top 10, I take a lot of chances.
Yeah.
You know, because that's the risk. A lot of people could easily go with the standard 10.
Yep.
And this guy, you could say, well, this isn't really a chance. Maybe you have him a little low. Maybe you have him a little high. I've seen Jamal Charles as low as number 20 because you don't know how he's going to respond from that injury, or is he going to stay healthy again? The injury bugaboo has been following him around, but I'm going to throw him in at number 9. Jamal Charles, he's a multiverse back. He's going to get a lot of opportunities to run the ball, catch the ball out of the backfield. But what hurts his fantasy value is the presence of Karchandrick West and I believe Spencer Ware, who still may be on that team.
Yeah, and like you said it, though, already, the injuries, man. He's hurt almost every year, and do you want to keep taking that chance? You know, it's so hard. Absolutely. It's so hard to pick him because when he's healthy, you could probably argue he's the best in the league.
Right.
You know, but he seems to be hurt season in, season out. So I mean, it's so hard, man. Running backs suck. You know, they're the hardest, probably the hardest position to pick.
Right.
To me.
Well, like Brian brought up, which was a great point, is that the league has changed. You don't have that lead back anymore. It's like almost every team has a quarterback by committee. So, a running back by committee. So, you know, you're gonna try to. In your top 10, you're going to draft running backs that are going to get that line share, that are still in the old NFL type of mindset. Who's your number 9?
I already said A.J. Green.
A.J. Green.
Yeah.
My bad. I forget. I allow others to go first before me. So I'm going to be a little selfish now and take number 8 now.
Go ahead.
And pick your boy, Le'Veon Bell, at number 8. He's suspended again to begin the season for violating the NFL policy and program for substance abuse. It's 2 games as of now, but a lot of talk out there saying –
4 as of now, but
I thought it was reduced to 2.
Was it? I haven't seen anything.
Well, maybe it is 4 like it was last year. Okay, I could have misinformation here, but the main point is all those games may be wiped away, and he may be starting week 1 based on the appeal, which is going to be heard August 18th.
Yep.
A lot of speculation is that it is going to be wiped off, in which case I would move him up to my top 5.
Yeah, exactly. I think if he's not suspended for any games this season, he's in my top 10 easily. I mean, I had him 13th. I'm pretty sure 13th last week. Yeah, 13, just because of the suspensions. You know, he's a guy that you want on your bench either way. I would lose my first-round pick to go out and get Le'Veon Bell, you know, just to have on my team, you know, because he's going to go. It doesn't matter if he's suspended 1 game, 2 games, but overall, I mean, he's a fantasy stud. He catches balls out of the backfield. He's one of the best at doing that, you know, and that's why he's always hurt. But
absolutely. Who's your number 8?
My number 8 is I went with David Johnson here. A lot of fantasy experts are real high on this guy. I mean, last season, rookie season, he had 581 yards rushing and 8 touchdowns. So, I mean, he learned off of CJ2K, so and pretty damn good guy to learn off of, if you ask me. So, yeah, to me, I think more of the Cardinals have as a passing team with Palmer, Fitzgerald, with those guys there. And we'll see, though. Like I said, a lot of experts are high on Johnson, so you never know. You never know. I mean, he's going to be one of the biggest running backs in the draft board, so you might as well get him while you can.
Right, and what I liked about him is that in his, because he had limited opportunities. I was a David Johnson owner last year. It got me a little frustrated. Like, this is the most talent on this team. Why are you not going to him? The head coach wanted to ease him in, and I think that was a smart way to go. But now he's ready to take the lead. But even in that limited opportunity, 24 attempts for 57 yards and 8 touchdowns in the red zone. And that pays dividends in fantasy sports.
Oh, yeah. You got to love that.
Absolutely. All right, so number 7. I go to a wide receiver here. I'm going to go with DeAndre Hopkins, Houston Texans, just an outright stud last year on the season. Had 111 receptions, 1,521 yards, and 11 TDs, and that's without really a steady quarterback.
Exactly.
You get Brock Osweiler, which some people are high on him, others are not, but I think one thing you could say about him is he will be steady as he maturates into this league.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I put DeAndre Hopkins a little higher. Like I said, my top 4 is all wide receivers.
Wow.
And he's my number 4 guy. I mean, to me, Brock Osweiler is an upgrade compared to Brian Hoyer. So I would take Brock any day. But
no doubt. I still have some reservations, but which maybe put him at number 7 rather than top 5. But I mean, we're talking the same ballpark here.
Yeah.
If I can get DeAndre Hopkins with my first pick,
I'm taking him.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's your number 7?
My 7. This is where I put Devontae Freeman. He's a guy that he's a workhorse. I mean, he rushed for 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns. He also received 73 passes last year for 578 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So I mean, PPR league, you're dreaming for that 73 number out of a wide receiver. That's absolutely insane.
You concerned a little bit about Tevin Coleman waiting in the wings?
No.
No.
I think Devontae Freeman 100% earned the job. He absolutely won it, and the only thing that could screw him over is if he gets injured in preseason.
Right. I have him ranked 13 because I don't like the small backs.
Yeah, it's hard. It's like a Danny Woodhead. Danny Woodhead's one of the biggest sleepers in the league.
Right.
But you can't waste a first-round pick on him.
Right. No doubt about it. I already said it. Or no, actually, I don't think I said, but it was you said at number 8. This is where I have David Johnson at. I have him at number 6 for all the reasons we discussed.
Yeah.
Who's your number 6?
This is where I put AP. I put Adrian Peterson here. We all know what he's capable of. Rushed for almost 1,500 yards last year, 11 touchdowns. So, he's an absolute fantasy stud. I think, to me, the Vikings' offense is getting better. Teddy Bridgewater's finally, getting up to par, doing what he's doing best. I mean, they got Stefan Diggs now.
That's going to support AP, too. If you respect the passing threat, it's going to result in a higher output out of the running back.
Exactly.
And that point exactly defends who my number 1 is, which we're going to have to get to after the break. We got to pay some bills.
Oh.
Little tease. We gave 10 through 6. We'll go through 1 through 5 in the next segment. We're going to get to some fantasy baseball ad recommendations, a little bit more about Ichiro's 3,000th hit, and a little Olympics talk. Got a lot going on here, so you're going to keep tuned to Fantasy Dominance Now here on A2DRadio.com, being proudly sponsored by the BMW of Atlantic City dealership. They challenge its sales team. They must sell 100 vehicles, which means you save. Right now, lease a certified pre-owned elite 2016 BMW 320i with X-Drive, just $299 a month. For 36 months, the ultimate driving experience is closer than you think. BMW of Atlantic City, easy to get to, minutes off of exit 37 on the Garden State Parkway. Or you can check them out online, bmwatlanticcity.com. You're listening to Fantasy Dominance Now here on A2DRadio.com.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by The Sports Outlet, located at 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. With over 40 years of customer experience giving the latest in uniforms and equipment to sports enthusiasts of baseball, softball, football, basketball, hockey, soccer, and much more. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or send them an email at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit their website at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all of your sporting needs.
Hey, do you consider yourself the next Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, or Jordan Spieth? Well, head on out on November 5th at Valley Brook Country Club in Blackwood, New Jersey for A2DRadio.com's first ever Real Talk Invitational. 125 per person to enter, teams up to 4 members, and it includes all you can eat and drink, and contests including longest drive, putting competition, closest to the pin, and the hole-in-one contest. Once again, it's November 5th at Valley Brook Country Club in Blackwood, New Jersey. The guys here at A2DRadio.com hope to see you there.
Get your skills in shape, then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
And welcome back to today's Fantasy Dominance Now here on A2DRadio.com, being powered by Gibson Mayer, LLC, your certified public accountants. Give them a call, 215-369-3300, or visit them for an appointment, 301 Oxford Valley Road, E.R. Lee, Pennsylvania. Mike Kleinkoff in the house, Matt Sensudi producing on the ones and twos, doing a stellar job. And I'm Rob Povey, a guide in the ship that is Fantasy Dominance Now. When we left you, we left off at number 5 of our top 10 fantasy football draft ranking. So I'm going to lead it off right away with my number 5. This is where I put wide receiver Julio Jones, Atlanta Falcons. I know Brian, who called in earlier in the program, which when we were talking about Alex Rodriguez's retirement and some other fantasy football elements, had Julio Jones ranked number 3. I rank him a little bit lower. I mean, certainly if he's your first pick, you are set. Had 136 receptions on the year last year, 1,871 yards and 8 touchdowns. I just think the point that he made, having a better wide receiver on the other side of him than Roddy White, should increase his value. Well, I see that maybe taking away a few more targets.
Yeah.
So that's why I have him where I have him. Who's your number 5, Mikey?
He's got to be the first tight end off the board, and that's Rob Gronkowski.
Number 5. Wow.
I don't think it's ever too early to go Rob, but that's just my view. I mean, last season, 72 receptions, almost 1,200 yards receiving, 11 touchdowns. And to me, you know, having Garoppolo in the first 4 games of the season this year, you always go to the big guy. And to me, the big guy is going to be Rob Gronkowski. You're always going to have that, you know, that one guy that, you know, is going to be his favorite target. And to me, Tom Brady's favorite target, first of all, is Rob Gronkowski.
Right.
So I think, you know, this year, Rob's fully healthy. You know, last year he came off the forearm injury. He was battling injuries. But I think more of this year, just because of, you know, Brady missing the first 4 games, I think Garoppolo is going to find, you know, Gronkowski more than he normally would.
safety net for a weaker quarterback. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. That is a really good point. You know, I had him at number 11, you know, for the reversed angle that, he's still one of Brady's favorite targets. Let's face facts. You know, he makes do with the wide receiving core that they have, but Gronk is Gronk. So I thought maybe his value might hurt a little bit from Brady being suspended the first 4 games due to Deflategate. But, you know, I mean, 11, 5, we're not talking much of a difference.
Yeah.
I think if you're, let's say you're drafting at number 9 or later in a draft, I can't go as far as number 5. I think I would still reach for a wide receiver or one of those running backs. But I'm just saying, though, in the second half of the first round, going Gronk is never a bad pick.
Not at all. Not at all. And that's right at the break, especially in a 10-person league, too. So
right.
Definitely. Number 4, I've already discussed, and that's DeAndre Hopkins.
Yep.
Like I said, Brock Osweiler is going to me, give him more of a spike. I think overall he's a better quarterback than Brian Hoyer.
Right.
He dealt with 3 quarterbacks last year, so this year hopefully he'll just deal with one for his sake.
Texan fans can just hope on that. Number 4, I have a man we already talked about. This is where I have Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
I think he will have more running room with Teddy Bridgewater maturing into this league, having some legitimate targets, and leaving the 8th man out of that box, and it's all day. Come on now, you know what I mean? You know he's going to be a top performer when he's not hitting his kids with switches. But so we'll move on to – you know I had to go there.
Oh, man.
We'll move on to our top 3, which is being sponsored by Sports Outlet. For all your sporting needs, you can visit them 703 Black Horse Pike, Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call, 856-939-2030, or look them up online, sportsoutletinc.com. My number 3 is Brian's number 1, Odell Beckham Jr. That's where I have him. I think that's the perfect spot to put him in. He is going to have a great year this season. Eli Manning, and I get this from a great source, Brian Wilson from Agree to Disagree. Eli Manning is a very sneaky quarterback pick this year. He says that he has a shot at 40 touchdowns on the year with Odell Beckham and a healthy Victor Cruz. I could definitely see that. I don't know about 40 because
40 might be pushing it, maybe 35.
Right, because I mean
I think the offense is overall better, but who's their running back?
Right.
I couldn't even name you their running back.
Shane Vereen, maybe.
Maybe. Is
Rashard Jennings?
Is he even on the roster anymore?
I haven't looked at the Giants because they're a bunch
I couldn't
of
even tell you. Yeah.
But the thing of it is I think Eli and Romo always have a competition on who can throw the most interceptions.
Yeah.
That's going to limit touchdowns.
Yeah.
But you could always say, well, they might be in a lot of shootouts, so I could see. But I'm not saying
the Saints game last year where he had 7 touchdowns.
Right.
I mean, anybody who's playing the Saints, you're picking that quarterback.
When you're giving up a lot of pick sixes, well, you're going to have to battle back and throw a lot of touchdowns too. So maybe he'll have 40 touchdowns if you incorporate
the 25 interceptions.
Right, and some of those being for the other team.
Yes.
Right. But Odell Beckham Jr., I mean, absolute phenom.
Yeah.
Can catch the ball one-handed better than most receivers can catch two-handed. Had 96 receptions on the year last year, 1,450 yards, 13 touchdowns, averaging 15.1 catches per or yards per reception.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
awesome numbers.
It really is.
Yeah.
Who's your number 3?
Exactly who you just said. I went Odell Beckham Jr. there.
Right.
Like I said, I see the 2 wide receivers that could possibly be a little bit better than him. So, there's nothing wrong with putting him, like, Brian was saying, number 1 or number 2. Right. Either way, if he's in your top 3, you got to snag him. If you're in one of the top 3 picks, you're safe with one of these 3 guys that we're going to talk about. Absolutely.
Well, let's snake it around. Who's your number 2?
Number 2 this is where I put Julio.
Okay.
I mean, his numbers were actually better than Antonio Brown's last year, except for the touchdowns.
Right.
They both matched at 136 yards receiving, 1,871 yards receiving,
right,
and then the 8 touchdowns. That's the only thing that Antonio Brown has actually put up the more points is with the touchdowns too. But
Matty Ice is as he gets
which
older.
Matty Ice are we getting?
Yes, exactly.
Last year I can't believe how bad the Falcons were last year. Honestly, I was so surprised. They went from like a 13-3 team to like a 5-11.
Right.
I was just so surprised. And, I mean, granted, Roddy White was getting old. I mean, he did nothing last year. But Julio Jones, I mean, that's where it was. That's where it was.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I can see your point, man. I mean, I don't know. I see those touchdown numbers staying low because, you got a qualifiable younger wide receiver opposed to him, going to eat some targets.
Yeah.
You got good tight end. You got, Devontae. There's a lot of mouths to feed. So, but, I mean, you can't go wrong with Julio Jones.
Yeah, but standard PPR leagues, I mean, receptions.
Yeah, he does get a lot of receptions per game. That's a great point. I would definitely
tied
have
for first last year.
I would have him number 2 in a PPR league. Yeah, big time for that point alone. And I would have also this man at number 2 or number 1 if we're talking pure PPR. And this is where I have Antonio Brown at number 2.
I think we're matched our top 3 because you can't. How can you not go? To me, I mean, like, I'm not disagreeing with Brian, but AB, I think the Steelers might have the best offensive team in the league.
Right.
With granted no suspensions. If Martavius Bryant was on the other side, and Bell is not suspended this year and not injured, I'm saying best offense in the league.
I'm smiling at you, man, and when we get on camera, you'll all be able to see this. I'm smiling at you because my Homer radar is on red alert right now.
No, come on. You know it, though.
I just play.
You know it, though.
I do know it.
Ben being, I mean, last year Ben missed 4 games, and that's his numbers with Ben being out 4 games.
Right, and like Brian said, my boy Ladarius Green, that's a huge
that's
asset.
another guy, though. He's injured right now.
Yeah.
Foot.
Yeah, he does have the injury bugaboo.
We need him because right now it's Jesse James behind him. And
Outlaw Jesse James.
Yeah, he's had like 8 receptions in his career.
Right. Well, here's where we may disagree. And I went for a real stretch here. I had a conversation with Brian Wilson from Agree to Disagree. He made some good points. And then when I looked him up, I'm like, I'm going to go balls to the walls here. And I'm going Todd Gurley is my number 1 pick avocation in fantasy.
So where's
leagues.
AB then?
Adrian Peterson?
No, Antonio Brown.
Oh, I had him at number 2.
Oh,
he was at number 2.
Julio was I'm lost.
I had Julio at 5. Adrian
sorry.
Peterson 4, Odell Beckham 3, Antonio Brown 2, and Todd Gurley 1. And this is what I'm saying. I'm making a bold prediction right here. Mark it down, ladies and germs. 1,800 yards and 16 touchdowns for Todd Gurley in the running back position. He's an absolute beast. He had his coming out party last season. He's got a great O-line in front of him for the now Los Angeles Rams. And I feel Goff will really light it up at first, keeping defenses honest. Now, Goff will eventually regress, but his pro-ready style with lack of NFL film for opposing defenses really bodes to his advantage. So he's going to start – it's going to be a nice aerial attack in Los Angeles with just, like you said, with Adrian Peterson – that's why I love how you made that point. I think this point is going to apply for Todd Gurley. And I'm telling you, if you take a chance and you have the number 1 pick in your league, if you go with Odell Beckham, Antonio Brown, or Julio Jones, I'm not going to hate on you. But you might be missing out on a gem here in Todd Gurley. I'm just saying.
No, I can't disagree with you there. I mean, the only reason I don't have him in my top 10 is because I'm scared that he plays for the Rams.
It's a risky proposition, but just like when you're doing football polls or NCAA polls, you don't want to pick what everybody else is picking.
Yeah.
You want to take that one leap that will put you above the rest.
Yeah.
And in the end, it's all about usage.
Yeah.
How is he going to be used in games? And I just think that either win or lose, Los Angeles is always going to be either in tight games because they got a pretty good defense, relying on the running back. If they're in shootouts, I think Todd Gurley, that could hamper his value a little bit, but he could still catch the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah.
He could still be that workhorse for you in the red zone.
Yeah, he had 1,100 yards rushing last year, 10 touchdowns, and that was missing the first 4 games of the season. So.
Well, that was a great top 30, man, that we've been doing the past 3 weeks. If you missed some of our, 30 through 21 or 20 through 19, you can go back to the past 2 week shows right on our YouTube channel or on our site. You search a2dradio.com. Get some of Brian Daly's takes, who's off on vacation this week. Maybe we'll give him an opportunity to give his top 10 next week if he'd so choose to. So you're going to stay tuned for that. But, let's break away a little bit from the fantasy football because we have some other things on our agenda before the clock strikes midnight here. And speaking about around midnight, I was watching the Olympics, the Summer Games down in Rio, which have been really exciting. I love the Olympics because it's where sports meets history, two of my great passions. And speaking of history, Matt Zanzuti is a huge history buff. Maddie, what's the medal count sitting at right now? Wrong Bagman.
There we go. Now you can hear me. There we go. Could have swore that was it. All right, anyway.
No worries.
So, but first, before I do that, how you guys doing right now?
Pretty damn good.
Good? It's good to hear.
I'm bouncing off the walls with all the caffeine in my system.
Good.
Maybe I need to sit back on this gorgeous couch for a little bit and chill back.
So let's get into the medal count here. I'll give you the top 5 as we currently enter the, I believe, the 3rd day of the Olympic Games.
Today's 4.
The 4th.
Okay,
the 4th day of the Olympic Games. At number 5 is Italy, who have 9 medals to their name. They have
Italia.
3 gold medals.
How you doing?
They got 4 silvers,
How you
and
doing?
they got 2 bronze. Bada boom, realest guys in the room. Anyway, next up, number 4, Russia coming in at 10. They've got 2 gold medals, 5 silvers, and 3 bronze. And then number 3 is Japan with 3 gold medals, 0 silvers, but 7 bronze, which gives them a total of 10. So just because they have that many bronze, they stay in the top 5. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah, right?
Number 2, China. No real surprise here. They're got number 13. They have 5 gold medals. They have 3 silvers, and they have 5 bronze. And number 1 is the USA with 5 gold medals, 7 silvers, and 7 bronze for a total of 19 medals. They currently lead the medal standings at the Rio Olympics.
Bum, bum,
I have to give it to the swimming team.
Yeah.
Me growing up, when I watch the Olympics, the one guy I want to watch is Michael Phelps.
Yeah, man.
There's no other person right now in the Olympics that I'd rather watch than him.
I mean, what, he set the record with 19?
19 gold. He's going for another one tonight.
And he could have had one
Butterfly.
last night, but I was reading one of Brian Wilson's tweets saying, like, he almost tanked it on purpose to get number 20 tonight for some reason.
No, I don't think he had a gold or a medal race last night.
Okay.
I think he had the butterfly, like, prelims, which he finished second in. So
so he did well to set himself up for number 20. I probably misread his tweet. That's what I did.
Michael Phelps, he won the gold with the team. I think it was I don't know if it was the 4x100 or 4x200 relays, but the U.S. swimming team is just absolutely insane. And then even with the girls beating Olympic records. Forget what I think her last name's King.
Lily King. Yeah, she defeated Russia's Yulia Efimova, however you pronounce that, to win the 100-meter breaststroke gold medal.
Yep.
Huge upset from what I hear.
Yeah, it is. This girl, the Russian actually was one of the, I'm sure, 1,596, however many numbers of doping Russians that you want to count. But
awesome comment.
She was one of them, but she actually didn't notice she was going to be in the Olympics until like a couple weeks before. I mean, obviously, you being a professional swimmer, you're still constantly training, but to be invited, that soon. But she used her. Oh my God, I'm losing his name now. Matumbo.
No, not to my house.
Yeah, she was doing number 1, like, I'm number 1.
That's
so
awesome.
That's what Lily King was doing.
Lily
King, she was, mimicking her, and she did it. She backed herself up and won the race. So
on the women's side of swimming, I mean, you have this rising star in King. You got Katie Ledecky.
Yes, Ledecky's nasty.
Yeah, I mean,
Vollmer got the silver or bronze
right
the other day. So I mean, it's just I love it. I love the U.S. swimming team is just absolutely insane.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, and we were talking about Phelps before winning number 19, and it's his 23rd medal overall. I mean, he's really cementing himself as the greatest Olympiad of all time.
Oh yeah.
Or Olympic athlete of all time. Yeah, with 23rd overall medals. What was I gonna say too? One thing, and maybe you need to educate me on a little bit, there's two names that I haven't heard, and maybe they didn't make it yet or whatever, but
Ryan Lochte.
There was one, and Rebecca Sony.
I don't know about Sony. I know Lochte is there.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard his name either. I don't know if it's just they're not doing what he does yet, or,
right. His events, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard.
I'm crying over here, man. When Olympics come about, I love watching every minute of it, staying up all night, watching everything.
I've been at work every day.
Yeah, my life just doesn't allow that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to binge it like I do everything else. Yeah. But I'll catch up, folks. Don't worry about that. But see, I like Rebecca Sony because she's from Piscataway, New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Met her, actually good friends with Doug Fresh. And whatchamacallit, really trained right in Piscataway or what have you. So little local area, she made us so proud.
Nice. Yeah,
in 4 years ago.
Yeah, and then another thing with the women's gymnast team too. They go on tonight for their medal match. I think they actually go on at 3:00 today.
After the men blew it last night, they had a chance
for
gold.
Oh my God, I watched them. You know what though? These freaking guys are jacked.
Yeah.
We make fun of them, but they are jacked.
Oh, Jack City. No, there's no doubt about that.
But yeah, they sucked last night. I watched a little bit of that. It was on at like 11:30 last night. That was.
We got Mike Flaherty chiming in with our Facebook fan question and Twitter poll. What will be Alex Rodriguez's legacy? And he goes, with a nickname like ARod and being the anti-Jeter, I think it'll be steroids. And this is coming from a Yankees fan. So, Mike, thanks for chiming in. Mike the Commish chiming in on the Facebook there. So go on, Mike. I just wanted to chime that in.
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's, I
heard the basketball team dominated again, back to dominating fashion.
The women's basketball team won both of their 2 games by a combined total of like 105 points.
Right.
And I'm sure the men are doing the same exact thing. I mean, you have basically Garden State's whole starting 5 on the team. So
one of the greatest lowlights of this Olympics so far is France's gymnast Samir Saeed breaking his leg during competition.
Oh, that was nasty. I saw the video that we posted. I wanted to throw up.
I did. I actually commented with a picture, a meme from MIB saying, I'm going to flash myself to forget I just saw this. Yeah, because, but I mean, a heart goes out to him, man. You train 4 years and it's done in 2 seconds like that. I really feel for him. I definitely pray for a speedy recovery for that man.
It's absolutely horrible. I mean, we've seen it with Kevin Ware with
right.
Louisville.
Very similar to
Paul
that injury.
George, another one, like Anderson Silva and, the UFC. It's just those leg injuries are just awful, man. And it's like that's a whole year of recovery. I mean, Kevin Ware was a guy that could have been an NBA player and, snaps his leg on a 3-point shot that he's taken against Duke and just, the team's just not the same after that.
No, absolutely. So, certainly a lot more to go. Maybe we can bring this up regularly on the show. I'd love to talk Olympics and hopefully be a little bit more in the know by then, a little bit more watching or what have you. Really quickly, before we hit the break, we are a fantasy sports show, so we're going to provide you with a few fantasy baseball ad recommendations. Mike, I'll let you go through your list before I hit up mine.
My number one guy right now, and he's been pretty hot over the last 15 days, is Max Kepler, Minnesota. He's now 64.6% owned in leagues, but he jumped up 28.5 points.
Oh.
So, I mean, he's a guy that's, getting picked up a lot. In our league, he's actually scored 65 points in those last 15 days.
Nice.
So, I mean, that's a lot of points there. But then again, he plays for Minnesota. So,
right.
Another guy that plays for another bad team in Tampa Bay is Brad Miller. He's shortstop outfield eligible. He's batting .260 this year, 20 home runs, 48 RBIs, but he's 53.9% owned in the leagues, and he's actually like 64 points in the last 15 games. So, I mean, he's another guy that's, if you're struggling with the shortstop outfield position, which many aren't this point of the season, but there's another guy. And my last guy, starting pitcher for Milwaukee, Chase Anderson. He's 6-10 on the season, but his last 3 starts, he's 2-1. 17 strikeouts. He's only 3.5 owned in leagues.
I was looking at him in our league. You better grab him now.
I picked him up. That's why I'm saying him.
You son of a bitch.
I need another pitcher.
All right, that's cool. Because I got a few more here. Real quickly before we hit the break. I'll start with offense. I've been preaching his name, but most of you haven't picked him up yet. Mike Napoli. Unbelievably hot right now. Grab him before he cools off. Another man that's very hot right now, and not in that way, Jock Peterson, Los Angeles Dodgers. He's very feast or famine, only owned in 48% of leagues. Grab him now. 3 pitchers that I want to advocate, and this man's going tonight at Minnesota. Fabulous matchup. Mike Fiers, Houston Astros. Matt Andriese, now with the trade of Matt Moore to the Giants, he slotted back in that rotation, and he did phenomenally in that spot as a starter earlier on the year, as a 2.90 ERA, a 1.05 WHIP. He's not prolific in the strikeouts, but he gets solid numbers in strikeouts, can help you in all categories or points leagues. We have the return of one Ryan Vogelsong from getting hit in the face by a pitch. So he's back. He battles San Diego Padres Wednesday, August the 10th. He could be a good spot, good pitcher ditch guy. 3 closers that I want to recommend, excluding the blow-up that he had against the Texas Rangers and Miami Marlins consecutively. So I don't know. I had this in research, but now after these 2 blow-ups, I don't know. But you're talking Miami Marlins, who are pretty hot, Texas Rangers, who may have just traded for a World Series. Carlos Estevez, Colorado Rockies' new closer. He could be a good source for saves if you're in a deep league. Again, Jim Johnson, if you're in a deep league, could be a good source for saves. He's only owned in 24% of leagues. He's currently the closer for the Atlanta Braves, and one of my pride and joys. I picked him up a few weeks ago expecting this to happen, and it has due to injury. Ken Giles is now in that closer's role that they traded for the Houston Astros. He's been added 37.9% of leagues in the past 3 days. Wow. Grab him now before he's gone, because he's been pitching phenomenally. He really proved his worth as a setup man, and now that what's his name? Man, it's fleeting my mind right now. Who is Will Harris. He blew his 2nd consecutive save Monday, so he got removed from that role. And you could say Gregerson maybe would take over. He's injured, so Giles is the man right now, and I think he's going onward and upward from here. So that's all of our fantasy baseball ad recommendations. If you got more questions, trade questions before your deadline, getting yourself set up for the playoffs, tweet at us with the hashtag AskFDN. I'm at RobbieBLTZ. Mikey's at StatMagnet85. Or hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Or that's Doug's.
Or YouTube. What's that?
Or that's Doug's.
What did I say?
You said Stat Magnet.
Oh.
I know you're so used to it.
I am. I'm trying to rush to a break. At Mike_Kleinkopf. And thank you for clearing that up, though.
Matty looked at me. He's like, wait a second.
Yeah. Well, he's rushing me into a break. I don't take that. All right, that's on me. But anyway, if you have questions, we're here for you. We'll get you into the playoffs. This is what we help you do on the show. We help you dominate in all things fantasy sports. If you want to dominate on the golf course, well, hey, man, we're having the first annual Real Talk Invitational November 5th at Valley Brook Country Club. Check out the tournament event on Facebook. Order tickets through Facebook at a2dradio.com in their events section. And it's the Valley Brook Country Club, located at 200 Golf View Drive in Blackwood, New Jersey, 856-227-3171. It's going to be all you can eat, all you can drink. Oh, man, you got to become part of it. Meet some celebs. Meet us all here at the a2dradio.com team. Don't miss it. Real Talk Invitational, November 5th, 2016. And don't go anywhere after the other side of the break. We're doing little kings, little jacks, little jokers. You listen to Fantasy Dominance now here on a2dradio.com.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com. Hey, do you consider yourself the next Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, or Jordan Spieth? Well, head on out on November 5th at Valley Brook Country Club in Blackwood, New Jersey for A2DRadio.com's first ever Real Talk Invitational. $125 per person to enter, teams up to 4 members, and it includes all you can eat and drink, and contests including longest drive, putting competition, closest to the pin, and the hole-in-one contest. Once again, it's November 5th at Valley Brook Country Club in Blackwood, New Jersey. The guys here at A2DRadio.com hope to see you there.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by The Sports Outlet, located at 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey, with over 40 years of customer experience giving the latest in uniforms and equipment to sports enthusiasts of baseball, softball, football, basketball, hockey, soccer, and much more. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or send them an email at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit their website at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all of your sporting needs.
And welcome back to the final segment of Fantasy Dominance Now here on A2DRadio.com. If you're just joining us, I feel bad for you, son, but there's good news. You can go back to the beginning and watch us from the inception. You can watch us anytime you want. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, we're everywhere. We're on demand. We're at your disposal here at Fantasy Dominance Now on A2DRadio.com, which is proudly sponsored by the BMW of Atlantic City dealership. They challenge its sales team. They must sell 100 vehicles, which means you save. Right now, lease a certified pre-owned elite 2016 BMW 320i with xDrive, just $299 a month for 36 months. The ultimate driving experience is closer than you think. BMW of Atlantic City, easy to get to, minutes off the exit 37 on the Garden State Parkway, or check them out online at bmwatlanticcity.com. So we covered the retirement of ARod. What is going to be his legacy? We brought it to the people on Twitter at A2DRadio_com. What will be Alex Rodriguez's legacy? And with 80% of a whopping, a lot of people, this is a trending topic, a lot of people chiming in, 80% say, not big surprise, steroid use. I kind of knew that that's what was going to win, but I wanted to see how much. I wanted to see how much the other categories, the home runs, the MVPs, or other. Nobody chimed in with an example of other, but 8% of the vote did go for other reasons. So there are other things that he was going to know for, but I was going to see if any of those were in the 20s maybe or anything. Yeah. They're all under 10% with 80% going to steroid use.
Yeah, I'm not really too surprised, honestly, about that. I mean, like I said, when I think ARod, I think ARoid. So,
yeah, absolutely.
You know, but yeah, that's, hey, I'm right with the people.
Yeah, that's what we are.
That's what I voted for.
We got the pulse of the people here at A2DRadio.com, worldwide leader of real talk, maybe even some couch talk.
Yeah, I'm couch talk.
Yeah, you are. Get comfortable, people. We're in for a bumpy ride. Anyway, so Yes, we talked about ARod's retirement. We finished off our top 30 fantasy football pre-ranks, which began 3 weeks ago, ending today. Stay tuned. You can go back to catch those 30, or in the future, we'll give a top 10 of some positions, especially quarterbacks, since we didn't really
there's
talk.
always defense, kickers.
Yeah, man.
If we really want
IDPs, maybe.
Yeah. If we really want to get into that.
Hey, we got time. We had time's on our side. Yes, it is. So that leaves one last thing for this show. We're going to, cover let's not forget we talked about the Olympics. We gave you some hot fantasy baseball ad recommendations. Don't want to skim over that. But the last thing for today's docket is Kings, Jacks, and Jokers. And this is being sponsored by... We're going to go back to the OG, Gibson Mayer, LLC, your certified public accountants. Give them a call at 215-369-3300 or check them out not check them out online. Check them out in person, 301 Oxford Valley Road, Yardley, Pennsylvania. So, Mikey, who's your king this week?
My king, we already spoke about him with the Olympics, and it's Michael Phelps. I told you that there's not one other guy I'd rather watch than him in the Olympics. 19 gold medals out of the 23 that he's won is just absolutely insane. He's one of the best Olympians I've ever seen in my life. And like I said, him getting that 19th medal, most golds ever, it's just he's got to be my king this week.
Right.
And he's going for another one tonight. So.
Yeah, but definitely best Olympiad of all time. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Willing to admit that now. My king's Ichiro. And we talked about him too, hitting 3,000 hits in the major leagues, really getting to that plateau. What's interesting, though, just to go in a little deeper, I looked at a spray chart of all 3,000 hits, and the whole field's covered.
Really? Yeah, that's awesome.
Infield, outfield, how many hits he got by legging him out, just a little slap. He made it famous in Japan in the Nippon leagues.
Little jump start, bump.
Right. Yeah, he's halfway down the first. By the time he's striking the ball, of course he's going to be safe at first. Finding ways to think outside the box. He's truly revolutionary. But I don't think it's a coincidence that both him and Pujols came into the league at the same time. Certainly different routes. I mean, Ichiro was 27 at that time. But it was honestly the two of them. I wouldn't be surprised if you see the two of them being elected to the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame the way we saw Piazza and Ken Griffey Jr. go in this year. First ballot going in together. So, I mean, he had over 200 hits in the major leagues 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times in his major league career. And he led the league in hits, let's see here, in 7 of those 10 times. Leading the league in hits. I mean, he's still putting. I mean, for his last year with the Yankees in 2014, had 102 hits. His playing time has certainly diminished since then. But like someone said before,
40 years old.
Right. He may play till he's 50. He's got phenomenal physique, as Brian pointed out. Our guest Brian, not Brian Daly, he's on vacation. So. Yeah. I mean, kudos. He's definitely a king for his performance.
I mean, for it to be a triple and his 3,000th hit is pretty insane. I mean, maybe not as nice as Derek Jeter's, home run on the 3,000, but
right.
I mean, to hit a triple as a 40. How old is he? 40 or 41?
He is, I believe, 41. I'm just going to be sure about that. 42. Pardon me.
Oh, okay. So
42.292 according to Baseball Reference. They're very exact.
40, okay, so a 42-year-old man running out a triple.
Right.
That's pretty damn good.
Hell yeah.
I like that.
I think it's very apropos the way the greatest hitters of all time get their 3,000. Wade Boggs also homered for his 3,000th hit. But he wasn't really a home run hitter, so it's kind of
either was Jeter.
Yeah, absolutely. But Ichiro, certainly a triples hitter, very speedster. Certainly one of many in his career. So. Who's your jack-off this week, man?
Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow.
He's making news again, baby. He's trending. Tim Tebow decides, my football career sucked except for the one time that we beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in the playoffs. He wants to play baseball now. I mean, listen, Grant.
Hey, Gary Sheffield said he's pretty good and can be a Major League Baseball talent, so we got to listen to Gary Sheffield, right?
His junior year of high school, he batted .386.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, he has, background in baseball. He probably could have played for the Gators, but he decided to play football instead of his baseball career, which, you know, he made his millions doing football. So, I mean, you don't know if he could still be in the minors if, you know, if all failed with him with baseball.
I think so.
Yeah.
I know so. There's no doubt about it.
All 30 teams are actually going out to view him, I guess, bat, practice, fielding, all that stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah, I was just looking at this TMZ report. Gary Sheffield, I worked with Tim Tebow. He's got MLB talent, whatever that means. Okay. Yeah, and hey, but, you know, hey, if people are coming out, I mean, he's a good athlete, you know, and baseball needs better athletes. Let's face facts. All right, my jack off this week is Melanie Shaw, a Philadelphia, Pennsylvania lobbyist who paid for her health care membership, political contributions, and a $3,000 line dance lessons illegally. She charges them to a state grant program meant to help welfare recipients land steady jobs. Real quality character there, Miss Shaw. Absolutely disgracing Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You're my jack off this week.
Yeah.
Mikey, who's your joker?
Mine's, you know, one of the biggest things on the internet right now is the Filipino diving team.
Yeah, oh, nice one.
Yeah. Oh, man, those videos are great. They're doing belly flops into the water, splashing their back. I was like, oh, man. But, yeah, I had to. It makes me laugh.
Absolutely. My joker this week is Ryan Khalil. Football is one of his only many talents. He puts out the rookie handbook of how to survive the first season in the NFL. You know, being hitting Amazon.com September 6th, really exposing a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff. There's going to be some flack that comes back to the NFL about hazing from this. Mark my words, ladies and germs. There's a lot more to this story, but it's time for us to end the party that is fantasy dominance now. You're going to want to tune back in to A2D Radio at 3 p.m. today, special start time for the Hockey Happy Hour with Matt Sensuti guiding the ship and yours truly trying to keep up. That's at 3 p.m. So for Mike Kleinkoff, Rob Povia, the aforementioned Matt Sensuti on the ones and twos, thank you for joining Fantasy Dominance Now, being powered by the BMW of Atlantic City dealership, who challenged their sales team. They must sell 100 vehicles, which means you save. Right now, lease a certified pre-owned elite 2016 BMW 320i with xDrive, just $299 a month. For 36 months, the ultimate driving experience is closer than you think. BMW of Atlantic City online, BMW AtlanticCity.com, are easy to get to. Minutes off exit 37 on the Parkway. Peace, people.
Deuce.